I think you're avoidant.
Avoidant attachment style. I think everyone reads me as avoidant, though. But everyone can't be right?
How long did you know it was done before you ended it?
Girl, at least a year.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
This is what fixed signs like Scorpios do. We wait and we ride until the wheels fall off. When I went on my first date with my man, I saw our entire lives like flash before my eyes.
Absolutely.
I was like, you are my man. You just don't know it yet. I'm no witch.
I'm so stressed out.
Have premonitions about things
Okay.
before they happen.
Hey guys, we're back. It's Imani, and we are here for CultureCon Uncut Season 2. But this time we have a special guest. Your problematic fave, Ike Slimster, is here to join us for Hot Topics. Hey, Ike.
Hey, Imani. I just want to clarify. The truth is problematic, not me. But I'm happy to be here.
Listen, whatever you have to tell yourself. I was scrolling the other day, and I saw that you said that people have lost the art of flirting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me more.
I feel like the mental labor that it takes to actually connect with a person is gone. I think people just want very instantaneous connections. And it doesn't work that way. You got to flirt a little bit. You even flirt at a job interview. You know what I mean?
I mean, because the art of flirting is just like doing anything a second too long.
Exactly.
Like looking a second longer than maybe you should, or like
and then connecting the nodes. You know what I mean?
The what?
Connecting the nodes. Like connecting the nodes at the points of relation. Like, is it the space that we're in? Is it the school that we went to? Is it the things that we watch? Is it what we listen to? That's where the flirting magic happens.
Yeah, because I think, for me, flirting doesn't have to equal anything else. It could just be...
Absolutely.
Can you help me put my suitcase up?
Tell the kids. You know what I mean? Because some people, because I see things on social media where people are like, well, why you ain't got no business flirt? Why you just flirting all over the damn place?
Not too much. Not all over the damn place, but
Because I'm like, I think it's also a language in business as well. I don't think business happens without a little bit of flirting too. You don't think so?
No, yeah, I don't flirt in business.
No, not like, it doesn't have to be a sensual flirt. Sometimes it's just like when you see two guys hazing each other, like, hey, where'd you get that jacket, man? There's a nice jacket. It's a little sharp on you. What do you shop? Marks and Spencer's? No, I'm a little up in there. Tudors. Like, yeah, so how about that deal with Ogilvy? And, you just keep it going.
Wait, okay, so how are you defining flirting? Because to me, that's just like banter.
Right, but I'm defining flirting as banter. It's the same way. But flirting is basically banter with a goal. It's that simple. Now, of course, I'm sure men don't want to hear that they've been flirting. I am very sure about that. But I think that flirting is just banter with a goal.
See, that's interesting because I feel like the goal needs to be romantic for it to be flirting.
But then that would take away from everything you just said. You said flirting doesn't have to be.
No, when I say romantic, I didn't say relationship. But I think there needs to be some like attraction.
Isn't there romance and everything?
I don't know.
Life is romantic.
Is it?
Yeah. That's a hot take.
I have another hot take. I think my big hot take is I think we prioritize attachment styles. What do you know yours?
No, I don't. I think, but it's probably secure.
You would say that.
I would say that, wouldn't I?
I think you're avoidant.
Avoidant attachment style. I think everyone reads me as avoidant, though. But everyone can't be right?
I think that
I'm just saying everyone votes in elections. Think about that.
They don't, though. Most people don't vote in elections.
Yeah,
I digress.
No, not a tangent. Okay. Keep it.
So I think that I'm secure, but I lean anxious if I'm with an avoidant.
Absolutely. Understood.
But my whole thesis hot take is that I think we are overemphasizing attachment style and Zodiac. And I think we need to focus more on birth order.
Why do you say that?
I feel like if you tell me you're the eldest girl in your family, and I'm talking boom, 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 all back together, I know 92% of your personality.
Okay, I'm the eldest boy,
okay,
right?
So you're the eldest. So you're the eldest. Now, tell me this. Are you spaced out like stair steps, like 2.5 years, 3 years? Or are there big gaps?
It's immediate. It's not.
Immediate, okay.
It's not a big gap.
And are you same mom, same dad?
Yes.
Okay, easy. So you're the eldest. You have a chip on your shoulder. You have a lot to prove. You hate asking for help. You wait until you're burnt out to ask for help, even though it's a little shame-inducing. But before that, you're going to cycle into self-shame. I should have been better. I should have asked for help sooner. And then when you finally do ask for help, you realize you could have done that all along.
Wow. What, did you read my Hinge profile?
I'm telling you, eldest kids are very similar. Now, of course, you get into the nuance of like nature versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
But when I meet a middle child boy
Yeah.
or an only child boy,
Mm-hmm.
I run. I run like I'm sprinting
Why do you run
in the
from
Olympics.
Why do you run from an only child boy? I have an idea, right? Because I'm guessing that they were heavily prioritized as kids.
You see?
So you usually can't meet their standards of attention.
Because you're competing with their mother. In fact, they're looking for their mother.
Wow, we're going there.
You got to run. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I've been using this theory very softly.
Yeah.
But when I get along really well with eldest children and babies. My best friend is the baby of 4 girls. My other best friend is the eldest.
Where's your place?
I'm the eldest of 4.
You're the eldest. See, that makes sense.
It does, right?
But that makes sense why you see eldest as the most endearing, though.
I don't see them as. I actually love babies.
You love the babies.
Girls. See it nuance.
So, but romantically.
Romantically, I love eldest boys.
But
responsible.
Right, but you see what I'm saying there. But what happens with the other middle children looking for love?
They should find
other middle children.
Middle children or babies.
So 2 responsible people who prioritize getting attention together.
Absolutely.
So and you think that's...
It's pretty solid.
Guys, Imani has just hacked dating.
It's pretty solid. If you're an eldest girl, you need...
I feel like I want to test this so bad.
Oh, absolutely. I have to... My life.
Yeah.
My life is the test.
Your life is the test.
If you're the eldest girl, you should be with another eldest son.
So
we're just talking binary. I mean, obviously you can switch this up, but if you're the eldest, you should be with the eldest. Or if you're the youngest girl, you can be with the eldest. The babies need to be with the responsible. And the responsible can be with the responsible. And then the middle children, they're wild cards. The other theory is that when 2 babies get together, it's interesting because one of them lives out their dreams of being the eldest. Yeah. When 2 babies get together, one of them is the bossy one because they never got to be growing up. So that's my other theory.
So then what does that play out? How does that play out in dating? There's like a power dynamic issue.
Not an issue, actually. I think when 2 babies get together, one is like, now is my chance. I'm going to kind of drive this. The other baby is thinking, I'm going to be who I've always been. I'm going to be driven.
So how does that play out in relationships? That's what I'm saying.
It's great.
So it's great.
Yeah, it works out. 2 babies together is perfect.
That would mean that alpha and then there's a beta.
Yes, but not in the way of a baby and the eldest. I'm going to make a chart.
When you put it that way now, I think I want to ask, how exactly has your dating gone with that order process?
It's been great. I mean, this theory is based off of real life. So my last relationship, I dated an eldest. Fantastic in terms of like dynamics.
Yeah.
But again, that's only one slice of it, right? Because I think what we're also talking through is when I say red and you say red, do we both mean the same thing?
Yeah.
So much of what I think dating really comes down to is not the theoretical version of communication, but the actual, like when I say commitment, what do you read that as? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm realizing now that like everything must be like defined in such a non-romantic way. Because otherwise, you literally end up in this parallel dimension version of a relationship.
Yeah.
Or the other person with all of their nuance and background and seeing their parents, it means different things to different people. And I, in my last relationship, went in thinking that when we both said this thing, it meant this thing, only to come find out completely different dictionaries.
I feel like that is just a result of basically what your dating style is. I think 2 olders with like that much conviction about how they want to live their lives.
Ooh, conviction.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That is the we had so much conviction.
Right.
Even though
like you'll think it's hot at first, but
a man with a plan.
Right. But then later on it's kind of like, so who's gonna commit to what? Because then we're both tugging at the ropes of our plan. So it's like what's so that's the only place where your theory backfires.
Yeah. No, I mean, I actually think it proves it even more.
You think? I mean, it proves it, but like, does it prove that it is actually a viable option?
I think the best option might be, it leaves me out in the cold, actually, as the eldest daughter.
Right. Like, that's
Where do we go?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, where do we go if you do that? Because if you play tic-tac-toe with Zodiacs, at least you can find a way out, right? You could be like, oh my God, his Mercury like douses out my Venus. Like you could find ways to make it like make sense. But if you do completely like just older responsibility, like has conviction, has the direction, has a plan, and you're set on that, and then both of you both have convictions and plans, it's you're gonna just stonewall each other at some point.
Unless, and this is the thing, the value. Okay, here's I think
The values align.
The values align, because if you're aligned in values, your value convictions will be similar. I think the only time where it's like, oh, we're stonewall, is if you believe the sky is blue, I believe the sky is green. It's not going to work.
So what you're saying is, what will keep the foundation should be that at the end of the day, this institution that we're trying to set up should be 1,000% solid. That should be that, because that's what you're saying.
1,000% solid is where you're missing.
Maybe
me.
Okay, fine. Let's bring it down. 999%.
No, I think you've got to figure out what are your top 3 values, and you've got to find someone who's got those top 3 values, and you've got to deprioritize some of the other things.
Okay.
I think for me, I didn't realize what my values were until they were challenged. Because there are a lot of things I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
But there were other things where I was like, oh no, I really, really care. And so I think whether it's conviction in the wrong area is still not going to work for me.
Yeah.
I'm curious for you, because we've been seeing the coffee dates. I mean, being a man in New York City, what are your thoughts? Do you have any theories that was my theory. Do you have any dating theories?
As a man in New York City who, I guess I can be defined as an artsy, right?
Yeah.
Artsy type. I love coffee shops. So when that conversation came up, I was like, what do you mean you don't want to date me in my church? Like it's my place of worship. Like what do you know what I mean? Like what do you mean you don't want to come to like Sunday service? Like, you know what I mean? So I was a little offended, but then I started to go deeper into the conversation, and I realized that basically the conversation had been corroded by a bunch of other people who had their own agendas. And
what were their agendas?
It became like a financial thing. It became like hey, like I could get to know how to discount. Like it's not full price. You know what I'm saying? Like why am I doing a full dinner just for it not to text me back? So then I was like, oh, fellas, like we're going off script here. Like that's not what the original movie was. It was you, me, and coffee. Like, now you're talking about fiscal responsibilities and just this is a different conversation. Like this is an economist. We have a problem now where people are overcompensating with, with monetary, or should I say financial security. And ultimately you're talking about your masculinity for something that's supposed to be, masculinity is implied. You're talking about how much you're spending and how much you want her not to. She's supposed to just know.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like quiet masculinity is it's the best. It's just, it's got a scent to it.
And what's interesting is that when I think about all of the things that make men riled up, all the movies that we love and all our heroes, they're all so quiet and stoic. Like, I don't know where we got this idea of I'm going to perform masculinity, like I'm going to roar it. Like I know where
we got it.
Where do we think we got it?
A lot of men with mics.
Oh, right. Oh, shit. Oh,
yeah. Oops.
Oh, I forgot.
So how are you approaching dating today now? Are you on a hiatus? I
am approaching it I am sort of slightly hiatus, right? But from a very communicative, clear standpoint, because I think that for the longest, I had an issue like articulating what exactly it was that I wanted or where I was at. And I mean like communication from a 3-dimensional perspective, like where I've been, where I'm at, where I plan to go, and where my mental space is. And that's something that I completely ignored. I just thought that you just say the thing. Like, I like you, you like me. Like,
love is enough.
Exactly. Like, let's just vibe, And that was completely wrong, because then you find yourself 6 months down the line explaining where you're at mentally. Like you just got there. You've been there, right? You've been there, but the flowers, you know what I'm saying? The butterflies, they were in there. They clogged your entire thought process. So for me, communication has been something that I'm learning and have, reached a point where I'm like, okay, I think I have this down. Communicating boundaries and communicating how to articulate myself and making sure. Also, this is another part because we're losing the recipes. Empathy.
Oh.
making sure I communicate, but with the other person's feelings, being considered. Because I think that people are losing that. Everyone's like, my boundaries, my boundaries, my boundaries. I'm like, hey, someone's crying in the corner.
Yeah.
You're stating your boundaries. Like, that's fine. But like the guy is crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're sending him off. You're building villains.
Yeah.
And same goes for men. Like, men, you're out here like, yo, like, I told her what it is. Whoa. Talk to her.
For me, I'm excited for dating because I'm lowering the stakes. And also now that I'm really clear on my values, I no longer have to go to like the end of the road.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I kind of knew back there. So we're going to be friends because we don't agree on these fundamental things.
Yeah.
Versus, the publicist in me is like, we're just going to clean that story up.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I
with
think
people.
life is about cleaning stories up, though.
No, some people are kind of like, this is where I spill. Can you take this spillage?
Yeah.
I think so much of relationships is like, here's where I'm spilling. Yes, I can course correct a little bit, but I'm not like, this is fundamentally like who I am. And like, if you don't like the way I dress or you don't like some of these things we can tweak. But I think once you start getting into a little bit of a certain tempo and rhythm, you're better off finding someone who's at that tempo and rhythm versus it's just, you end up having resentment for them because you want them to be something that they're not. They actually didn't agree to. They resent you because they wanted to stay the same. You just got to find someone who, I'm telling you, it's about values. You pick your top 3. You see if those line up.
You think it's that easy?
Not that easy, but it's not as hard as finding someone who has fundamentally different value systems than you and trying to get someone to be a family man when they grew up despising their family. It's like,
agreed.
You're literally going to be just fighting yourself.
Okay.
And I'm like, I feel like relationships are hard enough. Like, something's got to be easy.
Yeah.
For me, I'm excited for dating because I no longer have to carry on my back, and I probably never had to. This like, let's develop. It's like, no, we're going to meet them developed.
I mean, yeah, developed.
Developed.
I mean, do you think there's such a thing as developed?
Yeah.
I think everyone's always developing.
I think there's a threshold. There's a threshold in which, yes, everyone is always developing, and in the same way that everyone's always a student of life. But
so there's a floor in the factory that you
There's
prefer.
a floor.
Yeah.
There's a floor.
I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah. I get it.
So here's to a Q4 of curiosity.
Yearning.
Great communication.
Absolutely.
Whimsical meetings.
Whimsical.
And much better flirting.
Way better flirting. I agree.
Cheers to that, Ike. I am so excited for today. I was doing all of my research and I realized, Kamie, we are so similar.
We're twins.
You have been breaking the mold since you were crowned Miss Maryland Teen USA. 63 contestants, you came out number 1.
I still like rattles my brain.
And then you were like, that's not enough.
No.
Because then you got Miss Teen USA. That's not enough. 3 back-to-back Sports Illustrated campaigns.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like, we're not finished yet. Yes. The best part of Catfish, if I must say.
Thank you.
Every time you were like, what are we, in my mind, I was like, what are you doing there?
We don't know. Still, we don't know.
Roll it, go back.
It's so crazy. Hundreds of episodes and I'm still baffled.
And the fact that you came on as, let's try this out, so great. 6 years later.
Yeah.
You're hosting.
Wild.
It's so wild.
Even though it took 7 years to get there, but.
And that's the fine print a lot of people, right, don't talk about.
Yeah.
And I have this theory because as I was like researching you and learning about you, I said, okay, we're both Scorpios. There's that.
Most important.
But I think, we were talking about this earlier, that we underestimate birth order.
Birth order is something that I think should be on Hinge profiles. Like on your profile, there should be a place for where you are in the birth order.
Yes.
Because I think it makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference. I was just saying, when I meet someone and I know where they were in the birth order, I know about 90% of their personality.
Yeah.
I haven't tested this theory fully to the end with friendships.
You don't have to.
But in dating.
It counts in friendships too.
Okay, it does.
I can tell as the eldest of 6 women specifically.
Yes.
I can tell when I'm communicating with a girly pop who is like the youngest of 6.
The baby.
So I'm like,
Right.
oh, you get away with everything.
Oh, absolutely.
You can do whatever you want.
The day before vacation, my sister will be like, where are we going? And I'm like, I sent the itinerary 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. All of the information, the attire for every dinner, everything is geotagged.
It's there.
In the Google Doc.
And I wonder because I think obviously yes in friendships, but one of the things that I've just been loving to observe about you is the love.
Girl.
So much has developed.
Yes.
I feel like, we were seeing that you were being very, I won't even say, it wasn't secretive, it's private.
Private.
With your love life.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us, where did that kind of come from in terms of, I'm going to protect this?
I mean, as a Scorpio,
yes.
like I like to consider myself an open book, but I'm also someone who, like, I will tell you as much as I want to tell you as far as I feel comfortable sharing with you.
Right.
And with having a relationship advice podcast, it kind of has put that to the complete test because I, from week to week, receive so many stories of all of my listeners who are going through all these like crazy dating scenarios and looking for advice and some type of wisdom. And of course, I want to give it to them, but who am I to be asking you to share intimate things with me if I'm not sharing intimate things with you?
Right.
So when I first started the podcast in 2021, I knew that my last relationship was over, ending, dead in the water. I knew it was done, but I hadn't ended it yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, so how far along, how long did you know it was done before you ended it?
Girl, at least a year.
Oh.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I mean, I did 6 months. I knew 6 months and then
it's a fixed sign trait. Like this is what
Yes.
fixed signs like Scorpios do. We wait and we ride until the wheels fall off.
Yep.
But we need to see it like combust.
Why?
Well, I don't know. Masochism?
Maybe.
Savior complex?
Maybe.
I don't know. I really don't know. But I knew it was ending. I hadn't ended it yet. And when I started the podcast, obviously I was in a relationship. So I'm talking about being in a relationship, and people had known of me being in a relationship for 5 years. So like
Right.
they are looking to me like the big sister, like the eldest sister,
Right.
like the eldest daughter who has all the answers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, this is not working. And I'm speaking from a place that's a little bit like hypocritical because how can I advise you on your relationship when my shit is on the rocks? But I was doing it anyway.
Right.
As an eldest sister would, because audacity, obviously.
We're just gonna eventually
figure it out. Keep things looking as good as we can. And then when I went through my breakup, I was like, this is something that I have to share. So they got to document that journey with me. And when I met my man, I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I want to share this with the world, but I also want to protect what I have here. And everyone's not actually entitled to all of the information. They're entitled to what I want to share with them.
Absolutely.
And so I share, even now, we've been together almost 3 years. I share what I want to share, but I don't share his face. I don't share his name. I don't share what he does for work. I don't share details that are honestly irrelevant because I realize that in the past I have overshared and the relationships weren't even as close as what he and I have. Like, this is my I'm so obsessed with him. It's actually sick. Like, I was thinking about it just yesterday. I was like, this is so crazy how deep in love I am with this person.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I shout it from the rooftops. I just don't show his face with it. Why does everybody need to see?
Yeah.
If I'm telling you, just believe what I'm saying.
It's enough. And where were you mentally when you decided, okay, I'm going to get on the apps for the first time?
I was in a place of being so happily busy with my career. And like, I had just gotten my overall deal with MTV and Paramount. And I was like, this is what I've been working for. This is what I've always wanted. But I was fearful of dating because I hadn't ever been on an app. I think the apps, they were out when the last time I had been single was I was 24, and then I was single again at 29. So I was like, I was confused. I didn't know what the space was even like. And I am working on a show like Catfish, obviously deathly afraid of everyone. I'm like, everyone's a murderer.
Absolutely.
Everyone's
Scared
trying to
death.
kill me.
Mhm.
So like, why would I go on a first date? Like, everyone's weird. And my 22-year-old assistant at the time was like, I don't understand how you think you're going to meet anybody with your schedule. She was like, you need to get on an app. I was
I mean,
like,
that's a good, right. You're never outside enough to meet someone outside.
how are you going to meet somebody?
You're only inside. Right.
At a business meeting?
Right.
At Paramount Studios?
Right.
Where am I going to meet someone? So she suggested that I get on Raya because I was like, it's not safe. Everything's crazy. She's like, you literally tell people to get on dating apps like for a living. Like, you tell people to put themselves out there and go on dates. Like, you're being a hypocrite. I love her.
Do you think you have strong discernment? Because I think I talk to a lot of my friends and friends who are successful, friends who are a little bit nervous of who they're going to meet on the internet.
Yeah.
And their discernment is a little off. So they kind of get bamboozled.
Yes. I think my level of discernment has become stronger after interacting with a man that's like actually trustworthy and actually does the things that he says he's going to do and follows through. I think I doubted my good judgment because of the people that I had dated in the past. Because in the end, I'm like, wait, this is the person that you actually are?
Right.
I thought I knew you.
I thought I knew you.
What happened? What happened? Where did we go wrong?
It throws off all of your your thoughts and judgment.
It's so strange because, like, as women, we know that we're the smarter sex.
It's true.
And yet, in relationships and in love, we can be so dumb. But it's not our fault.
It's why. Well, I think we're quick to betray ourselves.
Yes.
And our intuition.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to believe it's true. But to your point, then you meet someone, you're like, wait, you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
I can relax in this.
Well, not yet, because I'm a Scorpio.
Well.
So we have to do some tests.
Speak on it.
We have to do a few rounds of
give
tests.
me an example of a test.
Here's the thing. When I went on my first date with my man, I saw our entire lives like flash before my eyes.
Absolutely.
I was like, you are my man. You just don't know it yet.
Yep.
And we just met. So I'm not going to tell you that. But in my mind, I'm already planning. It's done.
Yep.
Where are you going to go?
Nowhere.
So let's lock it down. But of course, we had just met. And we had only been on one date. And so on our first date, I let him know that I was going away for 2 months to film 2 different reality shows, X on the Beach and Are You the One, that I also host. And I was going overseas and I was going to be gone. And I was going to go for 1 month and then come back to LA for a month and then go back. So I was very busy.
Girl.
Very busy, but I was not too busy for my man.
Energy. Yep.
But he doesn't know that he's my man. So I go away for the first show and we had been talking and like, in my mind, we're together. We go together. But I hadn't gotten off the apps because I was like, okay, I need to stand on business. Like, I can't take myself out of the game completely because, again, he doesn't know that he's my man.
Right.
And I also knew that he wasn't off the app. So I'm like, okay, let me not be crazy. Let me not be ridiculous. You got to stay in the game. And while I was overseas, we had been like communicating up until I got on the flight. Like, I'm on my layover. We're FaceTiming on my layover. I get to Spain and he's like, show me the villa that you're filming. I show him the villa. We're like having a whole conversation. He's like, okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Like, have a great filming day. And I'm like, oh, my future husband that I've known for literally a month. Like, I'm obsessed with him.
We are the same person. This is crazy.
I'm like, this is my man. Guess what? He didn't call me.
He didn't call. Oh, and now I don't trust you. Now we're back.
Now I don't trust you.
Because you said you were going to call.
You said you were going to call me. Where was my call?
My stomach hurts.
I still talk to him about this to this day. That was like 700 days ago. Doesn't matter because you betrayed my trust.
Absolutely.
So I didn't hear from him that day. I didn't hear from him for 7 days. On the 7th day, he hit me up. He texted me and was like, hi, like, how is everything? I didn't talk to him for 5 days. He called me, he texted me, texted me, back to back to back to back to back. And I was like, no, I'm not responding to this. You're not writing me anything that is actually worth me responding to.
Right. These little like breadcrumbs.
How are you? How's your day? Good morning. What does that mean?
Kamie.
No, not enough.
Not enough.
On the 5th day, he texted me, can we talk? And now I said, okay, now you're talking my language. Because now you're not treating me like I'm a fool. Now you know that there's something that we need to talk about. And we did. I said, I'm available 5 days from now, on this day, at this time. He was like, okay, I'll call you then. And he called me then. But I need to see, are you going to text me what I need you to text me for me to respond to you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to follow up in 5 days more when I say that I'm available to speak to you? And what is it that you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
And he gave a really good explanation as to what his problem was and why he didn't automatically know that we went together as soon as we met and like we should be skipping off into sunset. And that was that. But yeah, so we had a great conversation and he never slipped up again, not one day ever again in the future.
Because that's such a good point in terms of, in your mind, we are this.
Mm-hmm.
In his mind, he hasn't caught up to that plot yet.
Yeah, of course.
And my dad tells me every day, he's like, men are not as smart
No.
as you give us credit for.
No.
So we're thinking, well, that was a suggestion. And we're
Yeah.
over there like, no, you said you would do a thing.
Yeah.
Now, like, can I trust you to do anything?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
I do this, but my toxic trait is, these small things are indicators to me of like much larger things.
But that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they are. I think
Mhm.
though we need to be cautious and careful about what we deem as like a red flag versus like a pink flag.
Yeah.
Like something that could be a glaring obvious like, no, you shouldn't talk to this person. This person's clearly full of shit.
Right.
Versus this person like there's some type of communication issue we're not seeing eye to eye on. If we both get clarification, we can either move to the green or this could be a red flag and now they're yelling and they're super defensive and they're like, no, that's a red flag.
Right. Because there has to be, to your point, an agreement on standard so that we know like, oh, this is how we move in this relationship.
Exactly.
Until then, it's like just my version of this and your version of that.
Yeah. But you do have to teach people how to treat you
Mhm.
because what worked in their past relationships and what worked in your past relationships may not work in this one. So
Mhm.
like, whereas other girls that you might have talked to in the past might have been cool with you not texting them for 7 days and checking up on them. That's not my testimony.
No, it's a little strict over here.
Very. Well, really, when we did have that FaceTime, I was like really standing on business. I was like, unfortunately, this isn't going to work out,
Mhm.
even though I knew it was going to work out. I just wanted to
Right.
see. That's my test.
Were you nervous that, because you kind of were like, this is what we do here.
Yeah.
But the other person gets to decide if they're going to
Yeah.
meet you there.
Mhm.
And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up is they almost think of standards as if an ultimatum. But I
Yeah.
kind of see a standard as whether it was you or Bob or whoever,
Yes.
this would be what I would require.
I feel like you have to set those.
Right?
If you're not setting standards, and you'll fall for anything.
Anything.
And I don't operate from a scarcity mindset. So if you're not willing to give me the attention that I deserve, which is not going a week without not speaking to me, then you're not my man.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't get better from that point. It's like, oh, that was the ceiling. It's only going to get worse.
And that was our conversation. I was like, my man wouldn't do that.
Well,
and he never did it again.
That is such good advice. My man
Yes.
wouldn't do that. So
Yeah.
are you?
My husband wouldn't operate like that.
He wouldn't move like this.
Like when you really think about it as you go through your dating process, the things that the person that you are talking to, dating, like, would my husband, like, would my future do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that the future that I want? I don't know. Some things you can teach. Some
Mhm.
things you just can't. And you got to wrap it up and let it go.
You got to let it go. And how, obviously you talk a lot about advocating for yourself in work
Mhm.
and being bold and being outspoken. Have you been able to translate that into a relationship? How does that show up in your relationship? Or are you in a space now where you're kind of like, wait,
Mhm.
there are parts of me that in the world couldn't relax, but I can relax. I can relax here.
I would actually say that it's worked for me in the reverse, where I put up with less shit on the work front because my man makes me feel so safe and so comfortable.
Wow.
Like, I had a work situation come up that just like was taking the life out of me. And I was like, why do I accept this over here when at home I don't experience any of these things. Like my man is doing nothing but lifting me up and
Mm.
telling me how amazing I am and giving me great ideas and making me feel so full and so happy. why would I go anywhere? Friendships, work, ships, any place that doesn't make me feel like that. I can't be living a double life where I'm in other situations that don't make me feel like that.
And the other thing I've really noticed is the natural progression. So again, a lot of our girls, I am the girls. You know, there's this idea of you kind of get into the first date. I talked to my dad about this. I was like, there's a talking phase. My dad's like, what's a talk?
Exactly.
We're talking about what?
What's your dad's name?
Ken.
Ken. They don't make him like you.
They don't make him. He's so
They
confused.
don't make him like Ken
He's
no
like,
more.
they don't make it. He was, and so
No.
I'm curious in terms of, you've now been with your partner for 3 years. How did progress look for you all in terms of having more serious conversations, deciding how we're going to do this together? Was it kind of where we've seen it where it's like, we're going to have the talk? Or did you find it was like just natural progression?
This is the first time in my life where I've been with someone and can actually see my future with them. Like I've been in relationships with people where we've obviously talked about the future, but I couldn't see it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. And that's the thing though. It's like, I feel like the body knows.
Yeah.
So even if the lips are moving and it's like, oh, I could totally be with you forever. The body knows when it's like, yeah, this is lip service.
Something's not right.
Something's
not right.
You're not my forever.
And even in the past, I've never gotten to like, I say future fiance because like the ring is picked out. Like we've talked about details about this wedding. He brings up the wedding almost every week. He's like, we'll be eating at a different place. And he's like, they need to cater the wedding.
I can see the people exclusive. Oh yeah.
This is what I'm saying. I'm like, that's where the reveal is going to happen.
Absolutely. I would expect nothing less.
When are you going to show us his face? I'm like, when it's in People Magazine. When People Magazine cares about it, then you'll see it.
They're going to want the face.
Vogue weddings, then you'll see it.
Okay. Oh, right. So many options.
We're going to cover all outlets. You'll see it then.
Wow.
It's so funny though, because we're together all the time.
Right.
We literally, when we met at CultureCon last year, he was with me.
I was going to say, I've seen his face.
We go out all the time.
It's not a secret. It's private.
It's private.
Yeah.
Even my podcast listeners, if I see them out, they see him with me all the time. And they'll like, Wizard Kelly. Everybody's just,
I love the Wizard Kelly.
And he loves it. Even though he's never seen The Proud Family.
What?
I know.
So he doesn't even know the reference. Have you shown him a little clip?
I've told him, he's like, okay. He's just like, whatever
it's a millennial
you want.
dream.
Whatever you want, babe.
Yeah. It's millennials get it.
He is a millennial. He's only 37.
Then what?
Okay.
But don't you kind of like your man kind of not in the middle of it all? Just stay over there.
He doesn't want to be in the middle of any of it. He's so happy to watch my star shine. He's just like, how can I add to that? He's never trying to like take from it or be in it. Like no.
And was that something you had experienced before in terms of the undercurrents of competition?
Undercurrents is very much prevalent.
Oof.
Very much prevalent. But I didn't see it as I didn't understand what I was feeling and what I was witnessing until it was done. And I was like, oh, you wanted to actually be the bad bitch.
Wow, you want to be me.
That's kind of crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. And I almost let you do it.
Almost.
Not quick enough.
Well, it's like if you were going to get me, you should have got me back then before I really knew myself.
You should have.
Because now I know myself.
I know.
And
the crazy thing is, like, I've been talking about this. The people who I've dated before have never dated me. Because the woman that I am, you've never seen her.
Right.
You've never met her.
Right.
I am a completely different person.
So I love that you're the eldest. I feel like I hear often you talking about asking people if they want your advice before giving it.
That has been I've had to learn that.
Yes, because were you traditionally like, well, here's what I think?
Immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately, no. Like that's the only, I'm also a rising Virgo. And so my face is going to say it before my mouth does. Like I have no poker face when it comes to anything.
And then annoyed when they don't take your good advice.
That's the Scorpio.
Because
why am I wasting my good advice on you? You don't care.
That's been the lesson that's taken me the longest to learn is literally letting people live their life and asking, do you want my advice?
Yes.
And freeing yourself to being like, if they don't, that's their prerogative.
Yes.
I've got some quick rapid questions. And
Lay it on me.
we want your advice. We want it here, Kamie. Okay.
Thank you for soliciting me.
How do you tell the difference between intuition and insecurity in a romantic relationship?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm a witch. And I don't say that lightly.
I'm
I
so stressed out.
have premonitions about things
Ooh,
before
okay.
they happen. I literally have been woken up out of my sleep with a check his phone. Like,
And did you do it?
I didn't have the password.
Damn.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done it had I
Right.
had the password.
Right.
Even though I told myself that I would never do that again after the first time I did it and found nothing and then made something out of nothing, which that was insecurity.
Yes.
That was not intuition.
Right.
I did it based off of insecurity, but also I had always heard girls be like, go through his phone, go through his phone. And I was in a situation where my boyfriend at the time, poor thing, he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Oh.
But he just was like not in the car and he left his phone in the car. And I was like, oh, boop, boop, boop. And then I like made up a full scenario in my head that was not, it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. So we don't do that.
We don't do that.
However, a situation that wakes you up out of your sleep and like it was so vivid. It was like, boom, like go through the phone and you have it gnawing in your ear. That's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Insecurity is he's not in the room for 5 minutes. His phone's over here or he's asleep. I'm bored. Let me take his phone, put it up to his face, open his eyeball and like get that face ID.
Yes.
Like that's weird.
That's a lot. I mean, I agree with you. I went through one phone and I said I would never do it again.
What'd you find?
I found what I knew would be there. Mm-hmm. But I said I would never do it again because if I'm honest, my body knew before I went through the phone. It was just confirmation.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need confirmation, especially if you are dealing with like a gaslighter or manipulator person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to see it and
Mhm.
like, again, fix signs. Like we need to watch it combust. So like, what's the nail in the coffin going to be?
Right. And that was in college. I mean, I haven't gone through a phone since, but it did. I was like, okay, you can trust yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't go through phones anymore. We
I don't have the time.
we choose better.
I don't have the time.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If you feel like you need to go through the phone, it's because you need to leave.
Okay, what is your take on social media permissions in terms of following certain people, liking certain pictures?
I'm strict. I feel very strongly about social media. And this was actually a conversation that my boyfriend and I had in the beginning of our relationship. Because, of course, when I first met him, he was single for several years. His For You page was baddies. Because social media will only give you what you want to see.
Well, I need to see everyone's For You page.
What's on your For You page?
What's there?
Someone recently asked me this, like, what's on your man's For You page? And I was like, street food vendors in India, puppies. That's it.
That's it.
And she was like, mine is like my boyfriend's For You page is like all baddies. And I was like, well, the algorithm only gives you what you want to see.
Yeah.
what
Whatever
you're interacting with.
whatever I was gonna say, whatever you're spending time on, it's gonna super serve it.
And I feel I'm not crazy. I am crazy. I'm not dumb. I know
That part.
everyone has eyes,
Mhm.
right? Everyone has eyes. Everyone can admire what they want to admire. My boyfriend and I have very similar views as far as like respect. I'm not sitting up here telling him which men I think are fine. Like that's just not conversations that we're having. I can respect it for other people's relationships. There are other people who share celebrity We've talked about our celebrity crushes from like when we were kids, but like his was Alicia Keys and I'm never going to let him forget it. Every time she pops up, I'm like, there's your girlfriend.
The fact that came out so fast, that's actually my next question is, what are your thoughts when you're getting to know someone and they're mentioning crushes, active crushes of different like celebrities? Is that an ick?
That would be an ick for me.
Right?
Because, I mean, yes, I guess it kind of depends on where you are in life. Like if you live in the middle of nowhere Landsville and you're talking about your celebrity crush is Lori Harvey, that person in Nowheresville is never going to meet Lori Harvey, more than likely.
Right.
If you live in LA, New York, Miami, whatever, Dubai, and you work in the industry and you're telling me that your celebrity crush is Lori Harvey, I think you should try to pursue that.
You should.
I think you should go try to pursue that.
I remember going on like a first or second date and I think, it was one time he was like, oh yeah, like this is my celebrity crush. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. She's not here. Cool.
Yeah.
Then on the second date, he mentioned another one. And I was just like,
I just don't. Have you heard of negging?
wait, now I have, but now I need to. It's like where they make you feel like they kind of do the underhanded compliments to make, yes.
And like mean comments, like
Yes.
say like little digs and things like that they think are like cute. And so
Mhm.
a guy did this on me recently. He's not a celebrity. He's nothing, but he's on reality TV.
Mhm.
And he didn't ask me if I was single. He just started negging me. Like we didn't have any conversations versus other than like he thought that I was also on a reality TV show, and I was like kind of, but not like.
Mhm.
And that was it. And then he just immediately started negging me and like making comments about me and like what I was doing and blah blah blah. And like, oh, you're so bad. You're so bad at this. Like not bad as in looking good. I was playing a game. I was playing a game at a thing and I was losing. And he was like, wow, you suck at this. You're really bad at this. And I'm like, you're like that would never work on me.
I tell men
Ever.
I'm like, oh, this doesn't work on me. Like I will literally be like, oh, I don't like you being unkind does not turn me on.
Who does this work for?
Someone.
Who does this work for?
It doesn't work on me. I get so turned off. And that's what I'm saying. When he mentioned the second crush, I was like, yeah, you should find her.
But this to me is a form of negging, in my opinion.
Oh, interesting.
In my opinion.
Like a little bit of jab. Yeah.
Because why are you mentioning other women on this date?
Right.
Unless it's your mom or your daughter or your sister.
Right. Because at best, you lack self-awareness, which I don't want that.
Correct.
At worst, you're negging. I don't want that. Either way, this isn't going to play out.
And if we are in the same room at the same time, or if you're in the same room at the same time with this celebrity crush, which is very likely to happen.
Right.
Now I got to be thinking, oh, if my man was in here, he'd be looking at her and not looking at me.
You're embarrassing.
I'm not even putting myself. Please, I am a very secure, confident woman. Don't ever get me out of that box. Any man that I've ever talked to, been with, that has taken me out of that box where I have to start looking at other women weird, that's not me. And I've known if I experience that or if I'm feeling that, you're not the person for me.
Exactly.
Because my husband would never make me look at another woman weird.
And it's the thought of, do I need to start performing? Do I need to start doing more? And I think, again, that's where we get into the eldest daughter.
Yes.
Where there's a part of us that's like, let me earn it. And it's actually shrinking back and saying, my husband wouldn't make me audition for this role.
He wouldn't compare me to anybody.
He wouldn't compare me.
No.
I gotta know. I mean, next question is, if you've been dating someone for a year and they're not ready, what's that mean?
It means exactly what they said.
But what if they need more time?
To do what?
To get to know you.
After a year? If you don't know, listen, if you don't know, then you don't know. And you may never get a chance to.
Right. What's the song? If you don't know me by now, you may never, ever.
You may never, ever. And that's your loss.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to waste my good years on you being unsure and unclear. Yes, sometimes people do need more time. They're going through. I'm not saying, because this is every time I say something.
I know, the absolutes.
Every time I will get some unqualified man who we would never be having a conversation if it weren't for Instagram comments. In my comments being like, see, men, this is who you need to stay away from. We're not all the same. Oh, a man can't have a bad day. I'm not saying that you can't.
Right.
There's a huge difference between a man who's having a difficult time and being reasonable about that. I think a lot of women are very empathetic and compassionate and reasonable about that. There's a difference between he's going through a rough time right now. He's trying to make partner at work. He is studying for the LSAT. He's doing really big life-changing things.
Right.
And I want to be able to support that. And I don't want to detract from that. And if you need your freedom to not have to think about a relationship to be able to cross that finish line, I support that for you. Versus you're not doing shit, but the same shit you've been doing for the past 10 years.
Not 10 years, not a decade. Kamie, please.
Or more. You're not doing anything new. Whatever you're doing a relationship is not going to take away from that. So you not being ready, maybe you're just not ready. Maybe you just don't want it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just don't want it with me.
With me.
And I think that as women, we need to be okay with that, because I think again, eldest daughter complex and just woman complex, we have this like, no, I want for him to see like, I am special. You are special.
You are.
And to somebody else, they're going to see that immediately. And there's not going to be a whole like obstacle course to get to their heart. Like, and let me tell you, my best piece of advice, these men, this is an absolute.
Oh, I'm ready. Please.
Absolute.
Yes.
They want you to stop talking to them. They want you to walk away. They want for you to give them the space. They want for you to say, you know what? This is actually not going to work for me.
Wait a minute. You're saying that towards the end when you're, what are we? They're making it so that you have to be the one who ends it.
I don't think that they're making it so that you end it. I think if you want to see if a man is really about you or not, stop talking to him.
Yep.
Put him in a panic. Leave the situation.
Leave.
What are you sitting here trying to convince? Why are you convincing? That's not demure.
It's not.
That's not.
And it's not how they communicate.
That's not how they communicate. They communicate with you disappearing.
Yeah, the big paragraphs.
They don't
read them. They don't read them.
All those quotes you're posting, they're not reading that. They don't care. Stop posting the quote.
Right.
And I've had the pick me women in the comments and the women who just don't know any better being like, I really like the quote for myself. Did you? Or did you want Tommy to see it? Because it's hitting that 24-hour mark on your story and you're sweating at the fact that he hasn't watched it yet.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care. He's tapping right past it.
He is. And can you sit with it that if you leave and he doesn't chase you? Because that can sting.
It does sting.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not your person.
It's not your person.
You won't have to worry about it.
Wouldn't you rather know now than when you're 86? Well,
I'm just saying, if you want to know, don't text him back. What's going to happen? What's the worst that's going to happen? Every time I've given my friends the advice, don't text him back. What are you responding to? What has he written to you that would generate a response from you? What has he said that's worth a response from you?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't respond, you always get another text back.
You do.
They're going to text you back.
They want to feel it.
They're going to call you again. It's going to happen, but you have to set that precedent. If you want to be, oh, I'm that girl, I'm different, then act different.
Mm-hmm.
Show them why you're different. I don't accept behavior like that.
And you have to, again, these are all buzz topics, but you've got to fill your life with things that he's not the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know we hear this at a theoretical level. It's like, oh yeah, like I am decentering men from my life.
Yeah.
But even when you talked about where you were when you found your partner, you were busy, you were booked, you were doing everything that you needed to do.
Yeah.
And you were less like, if he doesn't text me, it's the end of the world. And it's more so I would like for him to text me.
Yeah.
But my world's going to continue.
Yes. And not to say that I didn't crash out over those 7 days.
We always do.
I crashed fully out. I thought I was losing because I was like, where did my discernment was in question. I was like, is this the right, like, am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And my whole glam team that was with me in Spain can attest. I was going insane and they were rooting for him.
But that's so real for you. That you can crash out in private.
Yes.
But
never in public.
But not in public.
I didn't post no sad songs. As far as he was concerned,
no
I was living
paragraphs?
my best life. I kept posting because I have girlfriends and people that I know who will be like, should I just stop posting so that he like wonders where I am? No. You should keep posting. Your life goes on with or without him.
Yes.
Why would I stop posting?
I love that. In terms of like, we're not saying that you're not feeling these things, but you're not feeling them and instantly having to dump it on whoever. They don't deserve all of that.
What did Rihanna say? Fake it till you make it.
Well,
pretend.
You'll eventually feel that way.
Play pretend.
What piece of advice would you give to someone who has not found it yet? And they are losing hope.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking to you and they're kind of like, okay, Kamie did it her way. It happened for her.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen for me.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. Because even I had gotten to a place before I decided, like, I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to pursue my career passions and do the things that I want. I was like, damn, like, is there anything? And then I quickly, again, like I said, I don't operate from a scarcity mindset and I don't operate based and rooted in fear. I just don't. My grandma would always tell me that fear cancels out faith. You can't you
Ooh.
can't say that you believe in something and then have this fear that it's never going to happen for you. I think most importantly, you need to be clear and realistic about what your expectations are and what your goals are in relationships and like what it is that you're actually looking for. Because I meet a lot of women in particular who will say like, "Oh, I want a boyfriend so bad," or "I just want a husband so bad. I just want to be in a relationship so bad." You could just be in a relationship with literally anybody on the street.
Right.
Let's get granular. Like, who do you want to be in a relationship with? What qualities of a person does this person have?
Mm-hmm.
And make a list. And literally, as you're dating, go back to that list. And I'm not saying the list includes must look like Idris Elba, must be dark skin, must be light skin with light eyes, which I don't know why you put that on your list anyway.
Screaming. Not the preference.
Not a preference.
Mhm.
I'm talking about like, what is your type, the type of human being that you want to attract in your life?
Right.
Get clear about who that person is. Mine said he has to be a leader. I can lead. I'm very good at that.
Mhm.
I'm an eldest daughter.
Mhm.
I am a first-gen American on my mom's side from a Jamaican household. I can lead.
Mhm.
But who is going to come into my life and say, you know what? I see that you can do this and I love that for you, sis. Let me take these things off your plate and let me, like, when I'm out with my man, I take my brain out of my head and I put it in a box
Mm.
and I'm just do.
That is the best.
It's so nice.
Yes.
I've never experienced that before.
Wow.
So you have to get very, very clear. Do you need to be with somebody who is absolutely one faith than another? Like if you're a Muslim, you have to be with somebody who's Muslim. Okay, you put that on the list. I need to be with someone who believes in strong family values, who has a really strong family foundation, or at least believes that that should exist.
Right.
I want to be with someone who's monogamous and like believes in that. Like you have to get very clear. And as you go on dates, you'll be able to cross people off the list, but you have to be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
If on your list is must be an Ivy grad, you might be eliminating a huge population of men who are interested in you. And okay, who actually genuinely cares?
Who's walking around looking at their diplomas?
Who cares?
Right. I mean, I think it is like, what would you say, like 3 to 5 core values, because love is not enough if you are not aligned on values.
Mhm.
And then like your nice to haves
Mhm.
versus putting your nice to haves in your value. And now it's
Mhm.
impossible.
My list probably has like 30 things on it.
Ooh.
But it all mattered.
Yeah.
Like it all mattered. To me, it was like, he needs to make me feel like I am the most beautiful, sexiest woman on planet.
Yes.
Because I have notoriously been in relationships where I didn't even get complimented. Like,
where they're low-key trying to humble you.
Negging you. Trying to humble you. Trying to be on your level. No, I need to be with someone who makes me feel like they want to eat me alive.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm learning so much about myself by talking to you. I'm like, oh, is that another thing that we do?
Yes. I want you to be obsessed with me. I want to be obsessed with you. I want someone who is going to make me feel like they will support me through all of my career endeavors and never try to make me feel small.
Mm-hmm.
Those are qualities of a person that when you're dating, you can figure out if this person is capable or not. Some things come with doing and come with like living life together and things like that. But I would say my list, I knew that my man had all the qualities on that list at least a year into our relationship, probably way less, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing. It's like, even if all of my likes aren't your likes, we can't be anti.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Like, so that's so important. All right, Kamie, we're going to finish with Kamie's favorite things. I'm going to ask you your favorite things, and you're going to let us know what you love. What is your favorite food?
Jamaican food, curry chicken, white rice, plantain.
Yes,
Before I was gluten-free, it would have been dumpling also.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite time to wake up in the morning?
Not.
Not.
I would say I would prefer, in my perfect world, nobody's talking to me before 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
In my perfect world.
Okay.
That's not the world that I've ever existed in.
But if it was perfect.
If it was perfect, no one would talk to me before 10.
Where's your favorite place to go in New York City?
Ooh. I was going to say my house.
Well.
My house.
My girl.
Home.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, anywhere with my sisters. I have a sister who's a Taurus rising and her taste is impeccable.
Mm.
She put me onto this wine bar in the West Village, I believe, called Demo.
Oh.
Insane.
I'm
They
going
have this
immediately.
like lobster frites with like this miso. It's so good. It's so good. All the food is great. The wine is great. It's wonderful.
What is your favorite way to decompress?
That's going to be a strange one, but I love a true crime podcast and like cleaning my house while like with my headphones on.
Yes.
Listening to a
That's
true
not
crime
scary?
podcast.
Like,
no, unfortunately.
Okay. Energy. What's your favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yeah, as problematic as it is, Lord have mercy. We have to
Yes.
rename it. We got to rename
We
it
do.
and reclaim it.
We do.
But I love the food. I love like the fellowship of my family, just like everyone under one roof. Christmas I like, but Christmas gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah.
All that gift buying and all these damn family members, I'm like, oh my God.
So close to the end of the year. It's just a lot.
It's just a lot. And it's cold. I just am like, oh.
What is your favorite thing about yourself in this new era?
I think how much I am realizing that I'm just like my mom. And I love my mom. And I like my goal in life was always to be just like my mom. And every day, even me saying that's my mom. Like that's her. Like that's how she responds to
Beautiful.
things. Like I just realized like so many of my quirks and like my ability to stand on business. Like my mom is a strong Aries woman and she just really has instilled a lot of things in me. She's also an eldest daughter, eldest sister. And I get her on another level now.
Oh, we do become pieces of our parents.
Slowly but surely.
Oh, I love that. What is your favorite part about the future as you look forward? What are you excited about?
Honestly, vulnerably, I can't wait for this wedding. I can't wait.
We can't wait either.
I can't wait. I get so many messages every day from people who are like, oh my God, I just feel like your bridal era is around the corner. I'm like, please. I'm so ready to just like, because yes, the person is there and it's like, okay, I can put a pin in who the person is, but I'm ready to put a pin in like that chapter of our lives and like move into the next one. And as a control freak, it is difficult to not be in control of like when that is going to happen.
Right.
And of course, he and I have conversations about it all the time. And he's like, I don't really know what to tell you other than like the exact date that I plan on proposing to
It'll
you.
never be enough unless you get the date.
And I'm like, no, I want it to be a surprise. And he's like, I know. So I got this.
Wow.
Like just I'm like, but when? So I like that. I'm really looking forward. And my therapist is also looking forward to it. So that I can shut the fuck up about it.
Cheers to our water and our straws. Thank you for joining us at CultureCon
Uncut. Bye.
This
is so fun. I can't believe we talked for an hour.
An hour.